From the Ticats Audio Network, this is Ticats Today with Louie B.
While the CFL Combine has come and gone, and to discuss that, we bring in the Assistant GM and Director of Canadian Scouting for the Ticats, Drew Allemang. And Drew, we were just talking about this before we hit record. A sense of normalcy this weekend in Toronto at the Combine.
Yeah, it was excellent to be back out there and taking part in the Combine. It had been really 2 years since we've had the National Combine, so it was great to be back down there in Toronto.
Really, the Combine is one of those meetings of the football minds where you get different conversations going between scouts and players and coaches. What's your takeaway from the whole weekend if you had to surmise the experience of the 3-4 days in Toronto?
Yeah, I think it's a great event on a number of levels. Like there's CFL League office people there. So you can have some different discussions, and obviously there's rule committee meetings and all sorts of league level meetings, and then you have obviously the players there, and we get to interview them and evaluate them on the field going against the best players in the draft. And then you also have people from other teams, so you can have some discussions with other teams. And then also in some cases, some of the agents are there as well for these players. So you can talk to them a little bit about their clients in this current draft and also some clients that are maybe on your team where you have to get some work done between all parties. So no, it's a great event for a number of reasons, really.
A lot of these players, I'm sure you've been watching since even maybe before their college or university days. So how much of a player's weight do you put on the Combine weekend on whether or not they're a good fit for your team? Is it a small percentage because are you looking for confirmation on certain things? Like how big of a role is the Combine when it comes to evaluation?
Yeah, I think it's all of that. I mean, you want to be careful not to, it's only a few days of on-field and testing. So you got to be careful not to just rule out someone and kind of throw out all the film that you've watched and all the other exposures that you've had to them. So, sometimes someone might just have not the greatest day. But I think it is important. I mean, we get some medical information on them. They go through a medical with doctors. So that part is great. We also get to interview them. They're shorter interviews, and we'll do other interviews as well virtually. But it's a 15-minute interview, but there is some pressure involved. It's a big event, and they're up there in front of us being interviewed. So I think that part is great, and then just seeing them on the field as well. Going against players that are really the best player and various players with various strengths. So you get to see how they compete versus different players. Maybe in their regular season games, sometimes they're not going against the best competition. So it just gives you a little different evaluation. So I think it is an important event, but you don't want to just make it the only way. You're not just drafting off the Combine, really.
Is there something to be said, though, about the eye test and getting to see a guy in person or going in those one-on-one drills that's a little bit different than what you saw on tape or that what you saw in person a year ago or 6 months ago? Is that a component of the weekend?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we get out to schools and games leading up to this, so we do kind of have a general sense on what they look like, but these are younger people, so they are developing, and in some cases the last time one of us has maybe seen them was back in August, and they do change. I mean, they're still developing as players and physically developing, so I think it's good to just be around them and see what they look like, see how well they've taken care of themselves to get ready for this kind of event. I think says a lot about them as a person and player as well.
Is there anything that jumped off the page to you? Maybe something that stood out in the competitions, the bench presses? Was there a general trend that you noticed from players this weekend?
No, I mean, I think I think the players impressed you in a sense. Like there's a lot of things going on, obviously, and they lost a season back in 2020, and I'm always impressed just with how this draft class and the class before, just how well they dealt with that. I mean, they came in prepared, and I thought the players tested well in the running drills. They tested well in the strength related drills, and really did a good job of the on field one-on-ones and positional drills. So I think that's kind of a takeaway with it as well.
And just with a couple of new faces in the front office joining you and with Ed Hervey and Spencer Zimmerman, how has that relationship been building? The CFL there's smaller circles. I'm sure you've encountered Ed, you've worked with Spencer before, but how have you guys been gelling as a front office in your first season together?
Yeah, no, it's gone really well. I mean, Spencer and I have worked together a few times now and have known each other for a while. And then I've known Ed. You see a lot of familiar faces when you're out on the road, different events, and when you're out at schools scouting. So, I mean, you have a good sense on how they operate and how they see players. I mean, we all see players a little bit differently, but I think with the three of us and then Coach O, and then we involve our coaches. I mean, we kind of are all looking at the players in our own way, and then collectively it can help us make some decisions. If we all see a player the same way, then we'll probably feel a little more comfortable about that player. So I think events like the draft kind of help bond each other, and we get to work with each other, and the relationships really grow from there.
Well, the draft just a few short weeks away. It's the next big event on the schedule. I know you got a lot of work to do to get ready for that, so I appreciate you spending some time post-combine here with me, Drew. Thank you.
Yeah, anytime, Louie. It was great to see you.